Hello guys, welcome back to Mike Loves Fanfic. Okay, it's been a while right now since we're doing this fic, some sort of this multiverse, across the multiverse project that we're doing. So, I think I know where I left off, but today, today I'm recording right now. I'm gonna be reading this one called Cupid's Fall. So this is 6,910. And let's see how much are we on so far? Okay. So yes, out of 19 fics that I read 8 of them. So Cupid's Fall will be the ninth fic that I will be reading for you. So without any further ado, let's hop on that fic. Right, here we are. Okay guys, here we are right now to Cupid's Fall. So I'm gonna read description. This is a Cupid, AU, and who's the Cupid this time? It's Cupid Keith. The Cupids are reincarnated into human souls, and there's oblivious pining, and they're falling in love. Okay, let's read the summary. Alright, who's this? This is for a Valentine's Day, so yeah, this is the Valentine's Day version. His first life hadn't been a great one. He never managed to feel love or to fall in love, and thus fate has given him a second chance. Cupids, loveless humans reborn. Puppets tied to the whims of love, give an opportunity to fall and get a second chance at life. Except he doesn't want to fall. He's a good Cupid. He never misses his mark. He trusts his gut. He has a flawless track record until it comes across the lines with Clayton, the one person that he can't seem to hit, no matter how hard he tries. Without any further ado, let's read this fic. So, let's get working. Okay, a Cupid's fall. Keith has always been a creature of instinct and intuition. A hard life drilled that into him. He learned to act fast, learned to trust his gut, let his impulses steer him through life. He was good at parkour for that reason, good at martial arts, good at racing, never got caught up questioning himself, in doubting himself. He was an act first, think later kind of guy. It served him well, he thinks. He doesn't have much regret about life. He made sure of that. He had hardships, but what life doesn't? Sure, he never really felt love for anyone, romantic or platonic, but that was fine. He was a lone wolf breezing through life. He hadn't realized that the whole never felt love thing was, in essence, so pathetic that he would be given a second chance. Didn't realize he would be born as a Cupid, destined to help others feel love until it felt it himself, but he rolled with the punches as he always had. He thinks the whole Cupid thing is to help people like him learn what love is. It's supposed to prepare him for their second chance, supposed to get them all introspective and wistful as they watch humans fall in love around them. It's supposed to, but it hasn't. At least not for him. But as it turns out, he's really good at being Cupid. The whole instinct thing, it comes to play in this strange afterlife. Because their job as Cupids is to be able to recognize the first spark of potential love, and then shoot it, which does some sort of Cupid love magic, makes that spark explode, and gives that human the push they need to fall in love. Because some humans are more resilient than others. Some fall easily, but some doubt and overthink and talk themselves out of it. Some have walls too thick for that spark to penetrate. Some have dug their feet into the dirt and refuse to budge. These are the people Cupids have to help. The people who need gentle guidance or, hard shove. But recognizing that spark isn't always easy. He has known plenty of Cupids who struggle with it at first, because it's not just a clean cut sign, it's not an assignment. They don't get flashing neon lights and a highlighted bullseye that says shoot here. They get a feeling deep in their gut, a pull in their chest, this strange tingling sensation in the back of their mind that trickles down their spine like ice. is an itch beneath their skin and twitch in their fingers. It starts out subtle enough, but as the cupid gets closer, gets warmer, the feeling grows. It becomes overwhelming, feels their chest tight and suffocating, churns their gut and crawls beneath their skin, until they feel like a bowstring themselves, taut and tight and ready to snap. That's what the spark does to them. Every spark a human feels echoing and lashing onto a cupid. They don't know the pattern. It could be random. It could be proximity. It could be something entirely different. He has never really thought about it. He's only just felt the spark. It is target does his job. And he's very good at his job because he doesn't question himself, doesn't bother with it, feels the pull, and follows. And when he sees someone, he just knows. He can see the echo of the spark in their eyes. He can see it shimmering across their skin. He can see it radiating their energy. Some cupids question things, doubt, overthink. They wonder if this is the right moment, the right time, the right person that pulled them. They hesitate. He doesn't. When he feels that pull at his gut, he just knows. And he runs with it, hits his mark, watches the magic ignite, and then he just leaves, moves on to the next. He's very good at being a cupid. Actually kind of likes it. Likes making a difference in doing some good. But he hasn't really learned his lesson. Hasn't really learned about love or whatever. Hasn't gotten his second chance yet. But that's fine. Life as a cupid is a fairly easy one. He doesn't need to sleep. But he does go into meditative states that last several hours, recharging his body and refueling his energy. There's a cupid realm of sorts. A sort of in-between space where they can exist and live and relax and talk to each other and just, well, live. Like he doesn't spend much time there, not anymore at least. Not since Shiro fell and got his second chance. He has always loved Earth, loved seeing and trying new things. And now that he has wings and invisibility, it makes that a lot easier. That's not a thing. Invisibility. It's a natural state for Cupids. He can make himself visible to humans if he chooses, just without the wings. He's also heard of humans seeing beyond the veil, catching a glimpse at their moments between sleep and wakefulness out of the corner of their eye. It's not hard to see where the whole idea of angels and fallen angels came from. Anyway, point is, he has the ability to explore and enjoy life without all the responsibilities that come with being human. It's nice, and not nearly as lonely as Shiro seems to think he is. He's used to this. He didn't exactly have a lot of ties to people when he was alive either. He's comfortable like this. Content, really. He likes life as a cupid far more than he ever liked it as a human. Things are easier this way, far more simple. It feels like he's actually doing something. And as long as he's helping others fall in love, given the chance at a full life, what does it matter that he's never felt it himself? So this is being Cupid right now because you're somewhere in that realm where all the Cupids are. And their goal is to aim at it for someone who's going to be ready to fall in love. And once you're done and once you learn a lesson, you'll give yourself a second chance. And you'll be reincarnating back into human and go back and fall in love. And the key is different. He's really good at being cute, shooting some stuff and make sure that anything gets away with all of the love because he doesn't know love yet. So you'll see more of that one in the future. So you're really funny, you know that? It said with a giggle, soft and genuine. There's a sparkle in her eyes and a fondness in her shy smile. She's practically radiating. That spark of potential love inside her pulsing, hopeful and eager. But she's not the reason Keith's here. No, she's really embraced her feelings. There's nothing more Keith can do to help her. Well, except the idiot sitting across the table from her. He exhaled sharply, half scoop, half snort, sort of laugh. He lifts his coffee cup to his lips, silent behind it. Don't let my friends hear you say that. They'll be mad at you're encouraging my bad puns. It's light-hearted and teasing. But there's nothing more to it. No depth, no fondness, no breathlessness or nervousness or shyness. Simply casual, friendly, non-kind, but nothing more. Still, he must have felt some sort of spark. After all, he felt himself pulled here, pulled to Lance McLean's side yet again. He feels the deep ache of pity for the girl sitting across from him in the cozy little coffee shop. A coworker, he thinks, for what he has gathered while eavesdropping. They know each other well enough to be friendly, but he has the sense that it won't go any deeper than that. After all, Lance is the only person he has ever been drawn to who he's missed, though he knows it's not his fault. He feels a little guilty about that. Lance is the only blemish on his otherwise flawless track record. He never misses, never hesitates, and yet somehow something always goes wrong when he aims for Lance McLean. Loverboy Lance, his friends seasonally call him, has a long trail of broken hearts in his wake. It's not that he's trying to hurt them. He can see that much. Lance honestly and truly tries. He clearly wants to fall in love, but that's part that always pulls Keith to him. He never lets himself feel it, and Keith always misses whenever he tries to help. But he refuses to give up, refuses to ask without Cupid for help. It has to be some weird twist of fate that's interfering. Maybe Lance isn't meant to fall for anyone he's dated so far. And if that's the case, if it's some outside force that's interfering, that's none of Keith's business. He's just here to do his job. Follow the tug, locate the target, shoot. I'd love to meet your friends sometime, the woman says. Lean forward over the table, chin resting on her palm, smile sweet. He reaches behind him, fingers wrapped around the handle of his knife. He pulls it from its sheath in easy practice motion, using the momentum to adjust his grip. Pulls back his arm. Take aim. Lance laughs, and even from across the room, he can see how uncomfortable he is. It makes him pause briefly. But no, he felt the tug. He knows Lance felt the spark. It's not a key step to wonder or worry about the love that follows. It's only a step to help people embrace that spark. I'm afraid they embarrass me more than anything, Lance says, tilting his cup back too far as he takes a hard feed gulp. His neck is long and slender. His Adam's apple bobs. The light from the late afternoon sun gives his smooth skin a golden hue. He throws, quick and sure. Lances his head too far, coffee spilling down the sides from his mouth and dripping down to his lip. Oh crap, he says, stepping forward in his panic, leaning over a table, slapping the cup down with one hand while the other goes to his chin to catch excess liquid, and Keith's knife sails right over his head, embedding in the wall behind him, and then slowly dissolving into mist. The woman chuckles, getting up to go get Lance some napkins, and while she's gone, Lance sighs, smile falling as his eyes drift to the window of the cafe, sad, empty, bored. Keith grits himself, a fist slamming against the wall, causing the people around him to jump when anything falls to the ground. His feathers ruffle, irritation simmering in his veins. He never misses, but he always misses Lance. He's tired of it. If anyone deserves love, it's Lance. He hates seeing him like that, so lost and forlorn. He can already feel the energy gathering at his back, his knife slowly forming in his sheath. But they only get one arrow, or in his case, knife. Because as soon as he realized that the whole bow and arrow thing was optional, he began throwing knives instead. Her spark. It'll take a few hours for it to fully regenerate, and by then, Land's spark will have fully faded. Next time, he vows under his breath, watching Land's force a smile as the woman comes back to Sue. I'll hit you next time. Okay, guys, so this is the first time that he has to aim Lance. He starts aim Lance. There's a little woman involved right here, and then Lance was in the opposite. They were at the cafe, um, talking, hanging out with them. They're not romantically hanging out, but they're just friends. Kate tries to aim Lance with his knife because bow and arrows are very obvious. It's too usual. But knives is the only option that can be very obvious. No, knives can be very unusual for someone shooting as a Cupid. But is the knife very dangerous right now for being as a Cupid? He misses this, and well, we'll have to do it again when he regenerates the knife. His knife sails through the air, straight and true, only for Lance to spin around and step away, grabbing another bouquet as Keith's knife hits the side of the delivery truck and clatters uselessly to the ground. And there, blending mockingly in the sun, the beautiful Cupid knife begins to dissolve, wasted and infected. Damn, Keith hisses, running his fingers through his hair and clenching his fists, pulling tightly at the roots. Thanks so much for your help, Lance says, grinning as he handles the fake bundle of flowers to the man beside him. He dressed nice, but Keith isn't sure if he's an employee of the wedding venue or a guest. Either way, he wasn't meant to help Lance, but had offered him. It's no problem, really. You look like you could use some help. And I'm weak for a pretty face. And he smiles, his charm. He's classically handsome, Keith supposes, if it's not a little dull. On the first glance, there's nothing interesting about him. Clean cut and boring. But Lance had felt a spark, and it had pulled Keith here, where he had missed. Again. Lance laughs, light and playful. The key has been around him long enough to hear the strain in it, fraying around the edges, the weariness. He could feel the spark fading, lost and gone because he had failed yet again to ignite it. This is the bouquet for the bride and groom's table. If you could, it's pointed at a redirection. Right, yeah. The guy turns hers away, and as he goes, Lance turns back to his flowers on the soft side. For a moment, just a brief moment, he looks sad, face fallen, reaching out to gently run his fingers across the soft flower petals, and then just as quickly as he had crumbled, he smiled again, light and cheerful, quickly passing out his flowers and directing his helpers, sprucing up the entire venue with a critical eye. Keith should go. He had tried, had failed, and now his work here was unfortunately done. He could feel the buzzing energy of his knife reforming in his sheath. A sore reminder, really. And this is the time when he should leave to wallow in the shame. He had never been one to stick around, even after a successful hit, as some Cupids do. He never really cared to, but here he lingers. He watches Lance flit around the venue, graceful and commanding, light-hearted and clever. His flower arrangements are an art. His touch is gentle. There's a glimmer of joy in his knees that Keith rarely gets to see. It's nice. He leans against a pillar, invisible to everyone running about the last-minute preparations, and watches Lance work. He doesn't realize he's smiling until he feels it fall, caught up in an uncomfortable itch in his wings. He shifts his shoulders, ruffling his wings in an attempt to stifle the sensation. But when he does, a moment catches his eye. When he looks, he sees a single black feather sailing innocently on the ground, and his stomach drops. Okay, we're getting to some clues here. There's some hints. Because Keith had failed for aiming at Lance, and now starts to get faded away. And that's his fault for keep trying and trying to aim at Lance, and it did not work out. But Lance realized something. There's a black feather that he looked at, and ooh, this gets something very interesting when it comes to meeting with a Cupid or something. Giving them a second chance, or anything goes down the line. Okay, let's go back. The tug is something every Cupid can recognize. It's a pull at something deep within their core, something they're powerless to resist. It grips their heart and yanks them toward it, and there's little they can do to resist it. A puppet tied up and bound with strings of fate. Their weapons and their aim an instrument of destiny. They can fly. Their wings aren't entirely for show. When they feel tugged, there's far more at play. Sparks need quick attention, lest they fade. The sign Cupid needs to get there quickly, so when they feel a tug, they step. He can't explain it fully. Isn't really sure he was ever actually taught about the step. It was just something that became instinctual upon his rebirth as Cupid. It became an innate part of him, a bodily reflex. The tug pulls at him, as something deep inside of him, and his body reacts with the step. It's not a conscious decision, and it can be incredibly frustrating when he's suddenly dragged away from conversations, activities, whatever the hell he was doing. Hell, once he was forced to step while he was taking a shower. Thank gosh for invisibility. The tug always feels the same, but there's really no way of telling who he'll find at the end of it. At least, that's how he's told it's supposed to be. But he's heard from other Cubans that when they revisit a human a lot, because after all, love can be fickle, they start to recognize specific tugs. Oh god. He's never met anyone who missed their target so often that feeling their tug became second nature. But that's beside the point. No one besides Shiro knows that Keith's track record isn't so flawless. Anyway, the point is, he has come to recognize Lance feels different. Maybe it's instinctual, some kind of Cuban intuition that's just hardwired into him. Or maybe it's that soft wistfulness about Lance's tugs, how his sparks feel like a fresh breeze roll off the ocean, warm to the touch like soft sand. How when Keith feels a tug and takes the step, he smells fresh rain. How the step through the effort brings the same feeling as the ship of ozone before a storm. So when he feels the tug this time, while he's in the middle of fixing up an old vintage motorcycle, which has become one of his favorite earthly hobbies, he knows immediately that it's Lance. He drops his tools and stands, wiping off his hands on a rag before tossing it aside, pulling out his gloves and tugging them on as he turns, taking a step between. The feeling that strange shift as he closes the distance between himself and his target in seconds. A strange sort of teleportation that he can't control. That's a base reflex after a tug. And he finds himself in a grocery store. Frowning, he looks around, scanning the crowd. Usually, it's part of the job to locate a target, trying to pinpoint that golden spark that had called to them. But Key already knows exactly who he's looking for. He starts off, waving through people as he glancing down each aisle, looking for that familiar head of chestnut brown hair and dazzling blue eyes. He finds Lance in a bread aisle, talking with a woman. Both of them are dressed in casual clothes, sweatpants and hoodies, her hair pulled into a messy bun, and is pinned back with clips that Keith knows means he have been with his niece and nephew recently. They're talking casually, relaxed and open, smiling and warm. You can feel that spark inside Lance, soft and bright, but already fading. He doesn't have much time, but he hesitates. Fingers at his dagger, curled but not quite perfect. He watches her reach out, casually touch Lance's arm as she laughs, and Lance smiles, and his stomach twists. He feels nauseous, something unpleasant bubbling in his guts. His heart squeezes, a strange tension in his core that he's never known. He doesn't like this woman, which makes no sense when he doesn't even know her. But he knows that she wouldn't be a good match for Lance, and he has learned to trust his gut, but this is his job. He grabs his dagger, unsheathing it and throwing it before he can somehow talk himself out of throwing it at all. Predictably, his aim is off, as it always is. It slams into the bundled bread between them, and while his weapons aren't supposed to be corporeal enough to affect the physical world, the momentum of it knocks a whole row of bread to the ground, causing them both to jump in surprise. And Keith stares, confused and bewildered in surprise, trying to wrestle with the sense of relief and guts he feels with equal measure as Lance's heart fades. The woman is already bent down, picking up the bread to return to the shelf, babbling about how she must have knocked it over. Lance is looking around, brows adorably furrowed and lips pursed to a cute little frown. His gaze passes right over Keith and then snaps back. Keith stares, wide-eyed and breath-held, as their eyes met for the first time. Though it has to be impossible. He should be invisible, and Lance shouldn't be able to see him unless he wills it. And he didn't will it, right? For a second, just the briefest, most agonizingly quick second, Keith swears he sees Lance's expression soften, but then he's turned away, drops to his knees to help the woman clean up Keith's mess. Keith just watches, hearts hammering against the ribs, threatening to tear itself right out of his chest. What was that? What the hell was that? What was that? Okay, so this is the second time that he did this. Keith did this. He's trying to aim Lance again one more time, and then all of a sudden, he misses again, knocked all the rows of the bread section because they're at the grocery. I think they're at the supermarket. So this is probably the second time that he did that, and made a little mess. I don't know why he's supposed to be good at aiming, but he's not on par for his aim. So sadly, sadly. That night, his wings are unbearably itchy. The skin burns something fierce, and he's restless with it. When he finally gives in and grooms them, carefully washing his wings and combing through the feathers, several of them come loose, plucked up despite the gentleness of his fingers. As he holds one up to the light, you can see that at the base of his beautiful midnight black feathers is a touch of gray. Oh, I think he's probably going a little old, a little faded. That's what I get. Whenever Keith feels a tug that isn't Lance, he's caught up in a whirlwind of relief and disappointment. It's worrisome how attached he's become to a target, and he hadn't even realized it until the waves of disappointment swept through him, too obvious to be ignored. Still, he feels relief, because as long as the target isn't Lance, he's a perfect Cupid. He can locate his mark without trying. His aim is always true. Instinct, intuition. He thrives on them, and it wasn't until Lance that it started messing with his gut. Thankfully, though, his other marks don't suffer from his blunders with Lance. Even here, in a crowded bar, he pinpoints his mark as soon as he steps. As soon as the room shifts and solidifies around him, he has his eyes locked on her. You can see the faint glow of a spark in her chest as she talks with another woman beside her. His knife is in his hand in a second, arm pulled back and step forward, and flies across the room. The through the small windows between bodies, his aim true, his throat certain, it sinks to her chest, and he watches with a small satisfied smirk as the air rushes from her lungs, as her eyes widen, locked and dazed as she stares at the woman in front of her. The spark in her chest, touched by its dagger, bursts, igniting to a wave of heat that lights up her whole aura. Bullseye. He strains, absently adjusting his gloves as he spots. His wings puffed up with pride. He doesn't usually linger, but he does like seeing the looks on their faces when he hits his mark. A job well done. His dagger will dissolve with time, return to his sheath, but he doesn't need to stick around and wait for it. He turns, looking for the door to the bar, while stepping allows him to travel great distances to reach his target in time. It's not something he can just do, which unfortunately means having to leave and go back to his business by foot or wait. But as he turns, his gaze sweeps across the bar. His eyes snap back before he even really processes what caused tension to begin with. But then he sees it. Sees him, Lance, with messy brown hair and a smooth tan skin, dressed nicely casually, clearly putting effort into his appearance, but still casual enough to be approachable. But no one is approaching him. He sits alone at the bar, slumped to the side, leaning against an elbow, chin resting against his fist. In his other hand, he holds a glass, he'll swirl around the liquid as he simply stares. He looks so lost, alone, solemn, forlorn. Keith's heart aches. He should go. His business here is done. He hits his mark and he should return home. Should go for a walk, should do literally anything besides stick around. But his business is done, and whether or not chasing spark, they're allowed to indulge in earthly pleasures they see fit. After all, the whole point of their existence is to try to learn how to live again. Instinct, intuition, he has always lived by his gut feeling, and right now his gut is staring toward the hallway where the bathrooms lie, and he goes reeling, feet moving before he really notices. Yet, despite his mind not being fully caught up, he's definitely made up. He steps around a corner, and when he's out of sight, he closes his eyes, gathers that strange bundle of energy inside him, peels back that layer of protective glass that hides his form. He shivers as the air hits him. Skin somehow more sensitive when his invisibility is dropped. When he fully merges himself with this plane of existence, as corporeal and visible as the things around him. His wings pull into his back, hidden and secured. They're restless and uncomfortable. He can feel them shift beneath his skin, feathers ruffle and pinch, revert to nothing more than tattoo wings cascading down his back. He can already feel the ache and knows that if he holds this form for too long, his wings can be bent and damaged and bruised. He still remembers when Cheryl held his human form for too long while pouring at him. He remembers helping him massage his wings afterwards, listening to him go on and on about the human he was infatuated with. Cheryl had fallen not long after that, and at the time, he couldn't understand why Cheryl would let himself fall, let himself go back to a mediocre human life. When as Cupids, they're free. But now, he thinks he might be starting to understand, if only a little. When he steps back to the main room of the bar, everything is louder, more vibrant, more overwhelming. His heart is in his throat as he approaches the bar. His palms feel clammy beneath his gloves. His stomach twisted in knots, tight and turning. Every movement feels too stiff. His breath comes short and shallow. He slides onto the stool next to Lance, staring straight forward for a moment, trying to breathe, trying to gather his courage. Frick, it shouldn't be this hard. He's lived a life before. He died. He spent the past few decades as an otherworldly being. He's had countless experiences, seen countless things. So why is talking to a guy at the bar so hard? Hey man, that voice, so soft and smooth. Sand shivers down Keith's spine, making his wings shift and bristle beneath his skin. His head snaps to the side, eyes open wide as they meet that beautiful blue gaze. And Keith, he gapes, stares, mouth hanging open, lips working like he's trying, willing, so to speak, but nothing comes out. And strangely, miraculously, Lance smiles. Smile lopsided, head tilted to the side, mischief sparkling in those pretty eyes. Rough day? He snaps his head shut, brows furrowed in frustration as he keeps a sharp mouth. Yeah. Lance exhales sharply, and almost snort, and almost laugh. He lifts his glass to his lips. Yeah, I feel you. He watches the way his throat bobs. His mouth feels dry. What? What happened? He's proud when his voice comes out steady, if not a little unsure. Just, got stood up. The usual. Got stood up. He drops his hand back to the bar top, tilting the glass in circles. That gleam in his eyes dims, smile fading to a small frown. One shoulder lifts and falls. Then he tilts his head to Keith to give him an obvious once over. And when their eyes meet, a mischievous sparkle is back. His lips twitch at the edges, flying off his mouth. Unless you're a girl named Ariel who likes dogs, Starbucks, and works as a fifth grade teacher. And strangely, miraculously, Keith feels his own lips curl at the edges, feels his eyes crinkle as he fights, and loses to his own smile. I could be. Lance smiles beautiful, radiant, blinding. It's all Keith can see, makes him feel dizzy and giddy, heart skipping in his chest, stomach flipping. It's a strange sensation, so unfamiliar, so new. It's overwhelming, so much so that Keith misses his tongue. In that case, Lance says, already fallen down on Braxton. Will you drink? Despite how wound up he feels, he finds himself relaxing, finds himself saying, soft and easy, I like that. So they were at the bar right now, and he saw Lance right there and missed out. Well, he finishes the target becoming a Cupid, and now that the job's done, now he's going back to reincarnate as a little human. Verily. And then walking towards the bathroom and trying to collect himself. And then when he comes out, Lance is right there at the bar alone drinking. And then Lance sees the guy, could be Keith, maybe someone else, want to buy him a drink.
Sorry, something went wrong.
Ooh, sorry. Alright, did I say something? Okay, so they're gonna buy them the drink to make sure that the. Because it doesn't scare me. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, okay. Anyways, so they're buying a drink and giving them a shot or something just for relaxing themselves. And he cannot be excited for that. And can't stop it because of talking to the robot. And I cannot say that A word because they might listen to what I'm saying. So I'll keep that in. I'll keep that in, guys. Keith. It's soft, careful, not quite stern, but clearly steady. Gentle in the way one might approach someone on the edge of a cliff, which is exactly how Keith feels right now. Don't say it, grits out. Lean over the counter in Cher's bathroom, hands planted on the smooth surface, jaw clenched tight and teeth grinding hard not to make a vein in his temple pop. He stares at himself in the mirror, wings spread wide. His feathers have always been black as night, silky smooth and shining purple whenever the light hit it. They've always been beautiful, and now they're graying at the roots, spreading at least halfway up the stems, dull and lifeless. Not so much a new color as it is the absence of one. Heath, Shio says, patient as us. You know what this is? You saw me go through this when I met Adam. No, Sans confidence. There has to be no other explanation. Maybe I tempted them somehow. We only lose our color when we're falling. Why do you think humans only ever sees us with white wings? I don't want to fall. He hisses, spinning around to glare at Cheryl, tucking his wings protectively against his back. Cheryl leans against the doorframe, smiling at him brutally. Love never asks you what you want. It happens naturally. He leans back against the counter, arms crossed over his chest as he turns to gaze away. I don't want this. Cupids are never meant to be cupids forever. We're meant to fall. We're meant to find love ourselves. It's our second chance at life. But I like being Cupid. I like being able to fly and be invisible and just do everything. See the world. It helps. Blowing back a lock of hair from his forehead full fondly. Being human is a lot. I did it once and I'm scared to do it again. Yeah, sure size. Stepping into the bathtub to lean against the counter next to him. He wraps an arm around Keith's shoulder and pulls him in for a side hug. He falls to him willingly. He missed Shiro. He's welcome to visit any time, and he does so often. But Shiro has a life now. He has human responsibilities and a fiance. Things aren't the same as they used to be when they were both Cubans and carefree. I was scared too, you know? I know, Timos. I remember. Do you also remember what I said? He cups and shook his face. I said that it didn't matter because Adam was worth it. Was he? He asked. Was quiet and strange. It just feels certain. But was he worth it in the end? Yeah, sure said something. Whisper upon. He was. He quizzes Aisha. What if I fall and he rejects me? I'll be alone again and stuck being human. You won't be alone. You'll have me this time around. His arm around Keith's shoulder seconds. Playfully adjusting. How many times have you missed Lance? He growls, blown frustrated. Too many. Exactly. You're one of the best keepers I ever known, and I was around a lot longer than you were. You're a natural, and you've never missed someone before. Have you ever stopped to wonder why you keep missing Lance? No, he says, petulant growth. Of course he is, and he doesn't like the answer he always comes to, and thus tends to avoid wondering. He prefers to simply vow to do better and leave it at that. I think you didn't want to hit Lance. Of course, I want to hit him. It's my job, and he deserves to find out, and you want to be the one to give it to him. No, you may not have thought about it, but subconsciously, the desire had to be there. A Cupid's weapon is a manifestation of themselves. We throw with our hearts, and your heart didn't want to hit Lance. He groans, long, loud, and wordless. It pulls the chocolate out of Cheryl. Pats each other and then pulls away, turning to face him as he backs out the bathroom. Cupids don't fall for fading infatuation. Only a strong love can take our wings. It's our reward. Losing our wings is a crappy reward. Keenemars, pushing out the counter. You'll get used to it, she chuckles. Now come on, Adam's trying out a new recipe tonight. You're staying for dinner, right? Yeah, I'd never get better to steps. Freezes mid-step and mid-sentence. He feels a sudden chest, a pull at his core, one that locks him up like a puppet, powerless to fight the yanked strings, forced to dance to the Cupid song. But it's not just a tug, it's the tug. Lance's tug. A tug that's cooling, refreshing, sending goosebumps sprinkling across his skin and adrenaline through his veins. His heart leaps, actually skips and stutters in his chest, and the breath catches in his throat. Chill turns, eyebrows lifting as he takes in heat where his body is locked. A tug? He asks. He nods, quips. Yeah, there's a lot in that one word. A lot that his tone says. A lot that he feels but fears to put voice to. Yet it takes control anyway. Sneaks inside that one word and puts a weight to it that he feels and hears. And Sheer hears too. He smirks. Lance? Yeah. Well, go on then. He does. Without a word, it starts to turn, moving on instinct as he takes a step between. And as that strange shift comes over him, as he passes between locations in the blink of an eye, the smell of rain in his nose and air before a storm, he hears Cheryl call to her, don't be afraid to fall, Keith. Lance will catch you. So yeah, this is what he's supposed to do. Because I mean, if there's a very strong love, and if the relationship is good enough, you don't have to hit him. You just have to do the fall, and somehow they'll catch you right into it. Because Cher has been done before. He took the fall. Yeah, this is his second chance. Now he fell in love with Adam, and now he's with them, and now becoming fiance. He should have to do the same for Cheryl. Here we go. I think we're about to hit the last one. So let's go back around. Lance Flower Shop is a quaint little place just off the main thoroughfare of downtown, nestled in the back streets. Chipped paint on the sign and homey storefronts. For what he has gathered over his time being selling to Lance, this flower shop is a family business. He's not sure who officially owns it, but Lance works here often. Throws his heart and soul into it with a passion that makes Keith warm all over. Keith stands outside the shop, feet planted on a cracked sidewalk, gray feathers rustling in the wind. He stares through the front window, past all the plants that fill the inside like a jungle. Lance is behind the counter, wrapping up the bundle of flowers to a woman. He tells a joke. He distantly realizes he's so far gone that he can recognize Lance's joke telling expression, and she laughs. You can see the faint spark glow in his chest, but the fading ember barely clings to life. He doesn't have much time, and the weight of his knife is heavy in his hand. Handle pressed against his palm, fingers curled tightly around it. His entire body is wound up, pulled taut. It feels like he's walking a precarious line. He's not entirely sure if he'll catch himself or fall. Cher's convinced that he's fallen, but Keith isn't sure that's for the best. Lance is worthy of so much more than Keith thinks he can give. After all, he never felt love in his first life. How can he possibly love Lance the way he needs, the way he deserves, as much as he wants him? Because despite it all, despite how scared he is to fall, he does want Lance. He wants him so much. Lance doesn't deserve someone who doesn't know how to love, someone who's scared to love. He he needs to let Lance go. He needs to let him fall in love, even if it's not with Keith. He takes a step back, shifting his stance as he pulls back his arm. Knife at the ready. He only hesitates for almost just a second. Just a single fraction of time where he realized that despite how hard it is falling for Lance McLean, letting him go is so much harder. But he grits his teeth and takes a step forward, letting his arm swing, letting the knife go. He knows as soon as it leaves his hand that his aim is true, and it makes his stomach twist. His knife spins the blade over hilt, passes easily through the window of the broad shop, phasing through the glass to search an organic target. Flying past flowers and plants, the wind takes her bouquet with a thanks and starts to turn. Lance bids her goodbye, wishes her a good day. Knife passes right over her shoulder, the blade sinking to Lance's chest. He staggers back, bracing himself on the counter as the air rushes from his lungs. Eyes wide, confused, he stares down the counter. Then he lifts his head, eyes flickering to the woman's retreating back, and then to the window. His eyes on Keats, wide and surprised, pure lips parted. In that moment, there's no doubt in Keats' mind that Lance can see him. The door to the shop opens and closes. The woman leaves without a glance in his direction, and yet Lance still stares. His heart jumps and races. His breath hitches at the back of his throat. Then pain rips through Keith's back, white hot and sharp. He gasps, falling forward to catch himself on the window as agony ripples down his spine, consuming and overwhelming. His flesh feels like it's tearing. His bones feel like they're breaking. It's too much. It's too sharp. A strangled cry escapes through as his legs give out. He slides down the window, landing on the sidewalk on his knees, hands curled into fists on the glass. In the reflection, he can see his feathers blown away in the wind, ripped from his wings like nothing more than flower petals. He squeezes his eyes shut, forehead dropping to the brick windowsill, breathing harshly through his nose as he rides out the pain. It's gone as quickly as it came, ripping through him like a tornado, leaving him shaking and cold on a cracked concrete. Everything it feels like too much. His body feels so heavy. His skin is so sensitive, shivering from the wind, half everywhere the ship and weight of his clothes. His shoulder blades ache, a deep pulsing burn. It feels too light, unbalanced, and his body also feels bleeding, far too heavy and weighted down, tethered to the earth in a way he hasn't known for decades. He knows without looking that his wings are gone. Hey? A voice, so concerned. Lance's voice. Keith sniffles, heart racing, and his hand lands on his shoulder. Lights in the surgery. Hey, dude, you okay? He turns his head slowly, peeking at Lance through his hair and his lashes. Brows pinched and teeth gnawing at his bottom lip. Lance so close, kneeled down next to him, touching him, gazing at him with worry and awe in equal measure. Door to the shop hasn't even swung close yet. He tries to speak, but his voice is hard to find. His throat feels raw, his mouth dry, he swallows hard, off to the bare shake of his head. And Lance smiles, soft, small, barely there, his face lit up in a warm glow from a setting sun. His hand squeezes slightly. It's Keith, right? When Keith blinks owlishly, surprise coloring his features, Lance's mouth twitch his hair wider, held to the side. From the bar? Or maybe I should call you Ariel. At that, Keith laughs, a surprised puff of air that shudders out of it, broken and rough, but genuine all the same. He shakes his head, voice full of gravel as he says, Keith is fine. Well, Keith, I, uh, I don't really know what just happened. Keith squeezes his eyes shut. What do you see? This is gonna sound crazy, but wings? At least for a moment, Bears kind of blew away. He laughs, and there was edge. That sounds insane, but I swear it's not crazy, he says with a sigh. It's complicated. I don't know if you'll believe me. Well, next to him, he hears Lance shifting, feels hand leave Keith's shoulder. When he opens his eyes, Lance standing, holding out his hand like an offer, like a plea, like a promise. His smile is beautiful, impish, mischievous, playful, soft, Fawn, nervous, excited. His hands key really, dizzy and dizzy as our beats far too fast. Why don't you come inside and try me? He has always been a creature of instinct and intuition. It carried him through his life and his afterlife. So when his gut tells him to take Lance's hand, he doesn't hesitate. He holds on tight as Lance pulls him to his feet. Without his wings, his balance is off and he stumbles. Lance had to catch him, wrapping his arms around him as Keith falls against his chest. And when he looks at the final Lance smiling, he finds he doesn't need wings to feel like he's flying. That's a wrap for the story. So this is all what he's gonna do. He just have to aim at Lance and all the wings is will disappear and when he falls down almost down the ground, Lance catches him and there you go. You're returning back to your life as a human. And yep, both of them are known to them are each other. I mean that's how Cupid works, just to get yourself back right out or something like that. But that's pretty much all I could think of about this story. But he did it. Keith did it. And Keith's going back to human and now got hatched. Okay, so now that we're done with Cupid's fall, I'm just gonna go now to the wheel so that we'll pick what will be my next fix. Okay, so we are down to the 10 picks that I have because I read 9 of them. Okay, out of all the 9 picks, out of all 19 picks that I have, I read 9 of them. So, okay, here's as follows. Zero G, okay, so you get the mistletoe, I got the Cupid's fall, so that's just done. Spoilers, Space Fox, Swords, Red and Blue, Vegas Lights, Wedding Nights, Sun's Pining, Mother's Guiding, and like, comment, subscribe. And speaking of like, comment, subscribe, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like the video and comment. Well, you don't need to comment, you don't have to comment, but make sure you like this video, okay? And subscribe to Michael's favorite channel, so you probably won't miss a lot of stuff because I will do more and more projects for reading picks because I really want you to read more picks. So yeah, out of all the 19 that I have, I read 9 of them. So let's say we're halfway through. Okay, so let's spin the wheel and find out what will be my next pick for next week. So next week it will be just one, will be another pick to do, another one shot. See what we'll land on next. Ooh, so fast. Okay. It's of courts and courting will be the next one. So that would be chapter 13. So this is after the pining. And so we're at chapter 13. Oh, we're 7,000 now. It's still rated T. So this is Royal AU. So we're into part Royal stuff. And it's a Gara and Altean. So remember, Keith is part of the Gara, Lance part of Altean. Again, it's mutual pining. There are most of the fics that we have are mutual pining. So we're doing another mutual pining one more time. And then there are some sexual implications. So probably got a little heads up about that, but it's still rated T. Okay. Now that we're wrapped up and now that we know what will be the next fic that I will be reading next week, that's all. That's all for this video. I will see you guys next time. All right. Goodbye, everyone.